Welcome to the weekly Astro Weather with Delana. I'm Delana. This is the show where I anchor the astrological news and give the rundown of what's to come for the week. I'm like the weatherman, but with more disembodiment. If you enjoy my weekly ramblings, consider leaving a rating or review on whatever platform you use to allow my voice to reverberate throughout your brain. Ratings, reviews, and even comments are simple ways to help the show stay in the good graces of the algorithm. And they boost my mood and make me feel nice. You can also subscribe to my Substack and receive free additional content right to your inbox, including weekly newspaper-style horoscopes. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening. It means more than you will ever know. Let's get to the real reason that you pressed play and see what the astro weather holds for us this week. This week is a little gnarly. On the whole, there aren't a lot of aspects being made or any planetary ingressions, but what little astrological events we do have will be highly impactful. The first of the impactful events is Saturn stationing retrograde. That happens on Sunday, July 26th, today, if you're here with me in real time. I have an entire article about Saturn's retrograde in Moon Matters magazine on my Substack. Go sign up to receive the magazine. It's free to subscribe, and I'm regularly churning out astrological content over there. The best way I can describe a Saturn retrograde is like construction is being halted. We're working on building something within the realm of Saturn, and then the retrograde comes along and halts that progression. Not because it wants to stop the continuation of the project entirely, but because we need to step back and see what we have thus far. Is the construction going well? Are we still interested in building what we started to build? Do we need to bust down any walls or barriers in order to properly rebuild them and get them up to code? If Saturn is the planet of limitation, structure, discipline, and isolation, then a Saturn retrograde is us reassessing the structure, the container, and what it takes to keep embodying the lessons of Saturn. It's like a mini assessment or pop quiz kind of thing. We're checking our comprehension with Saturn's lessons in Aries thus far. Saturn's fallen dignity has made a little bit of a battle between haste and patience within the realm of Aries, and the retrograde is honestly going to be a welcome slowdown, at least for Saturn. Aries likes to go fast. Saturn needs to go slow. So this retrograde might actually feel kind of good to Saturn, but still awkward because Aries hates stalled progress and backtracking. You guys know I'm an Aries moon, and I cannot tell you how much I hate having to backtrack. Even something simple like grocery shopping. When I'm in the grocery store, if I have to go back an aisle and grab something that I missed on my list, that just boils my beans. Saturn backtracking in Aries, while necessary, it's still likely going to cause annoyance and frustration. We just recently got out of Mercury's retrograde, which felt like an absolute eternity, even though it was only 3 weeks long. Saturn's retrograde in comparison is a lot longer, roughly 5 months. For the rest of the calendar year, Saturn will be retrograde. The exact dates of everything are in my article if you're wanting those, but essentially, you're safe to assume that Saturn will be retrograde for the rest of the calendar year. That's a decent amount of time. And the reason I brought up Mercury was to showcase the difference between Mercury and Saturn's retrograde times, and that we have such a longer amount of time to work with what Saturn is asking of us or needing us to reconcile. So don't get all up in arms and think you have to have this done tomorrow or even by the end of the month. We have plenty of time, and there's actually a lot of stages to Saturn's retrograde, and we can't rush through them. We have to take our time. The ruler of the retrograde is Mars, since Saturn is in Aries. Over the next few months, Mars will transit from Gemini all the way to Virgo, which means Saturn's retrograde will also touch those areas of life. Mars is honestly the key to this retrograde. Wherever Mars is and whatever it's doing is how we need to take action, and it's showing us what we need to rework, how we need to revamp our restrictions and limitations, and also how we need to reshape our goals within the realm of Aries. I go into detail about Mars's energy throughout each sign it transits over the next few months in my article. So seriously, go read that if you're looking for guidance or more information on Saturn's retrograde. It's not something you just mention once and forget about. You shouldn't be like, okay, Delana told me that Saturn stations retrograde today. Cool. And then 5 months go by and you're like, okay, now it's station direct. Cool. No, it's something that we need to engage with constantly because, yes, there are those stages. And not constantly, like all the time, second to second, but you know what I mean. This is a longer transit, so it's really easy to get used to the energy. Whereas Mercury's retrograde energy, it's 3 weeks, it's here, it's intense, it's in your face, it's a personal planet, it's hard to forget about. Saturn's retrograde can fade into the background because it's so long. We get used to the energy, we forget we're supposed to be reworking something, so we need to stay present with this, is what I'm trying to say. Be prepared to rework your goals, set new boundaries, knock old ones down, and recalibrate your ambition within the realm of Aries. That sounds like a tall order, but again, we have 5 months with this. We have until December. And mark my words, come December, I will be asking you to reflect on how you've changed or reshaped this area of life or new boundaries you've put up, as well as how you've engaged with the goals that you set within Aries. So we're starting the week off pretty strong. Once Saturn stations retrograde, we don't have anything until midweek, and then we all of a sudden have everything. When the sun ingressed into Leo last week, I said that the Jupiter Cazimi was just out of range, but that's no longer the case. On Wednesday, July 29th, the Jupiter Cazimi will grace us with all its fiery beneficence. Jupiter will be at the heart of the domiciled sun and will have the king's ear. The king just heard Mercury not too long ago, and now we're having Jupiter approach the court. When I look at this, I'm like, who's really the king here? Jupiter is Zeus. Like, come on. It's more like a meeting of kings rather than Jupiter appealing to the king. The realm of Leo has only just started its year-long journey with receiving the goodness of Jupiter. The Cazimi is going to be our chance to make a plea, a bargain, to wish upon a star within the realm that Leo rules. We should not hold back with this. If manifesting or doing some kind of ritualistic magic is your thing, put your all into it, go big, or don't even bother. Don't even go home. If you don't go big, don't even go home. Just, I don't know what you do, don't bother, but it's all about going big. Outside of manifesting and magic, this Cazimi is going to highlight possibility more than anything. The potential and possibilities within the realm of Leo will be highlighted. The potential and possibilities will be shown to us in very apparent ways. This does not mean something life-altering will just hit you, but it does mean there's a wave of potential that we can ride to something life-altering should we grab on and seize that moment. The trick to maximizing this Cazimi maxing, as the kids would say, is that your heart has to be in it. Leo rules the heart and is a passion-centered sign. Passion, creativity, and what lives in your heart will come to life. Not what you think might be cool or nice to have come to life, but what actually lives in your heart and sets you on fire. That's what this Cazimi is about. Be bold, be bright, and don't turn away opportunities that place you as the center of attention or that bring your wishes to life, that deliver you avenues of expansion, or push you to see the wisdom that lives in your heart. The Cazimi can do some awesome things, but it does require fuel. One of the things I teach my students about Leo is that it's a hearth. Fixed fire, it's a hearth, right? But a hearth needs fuel to generate fire, to generate creative output, to generate warmth. The Cazimi may deliver us something we want, something big, but the onus is still on us then to figure out how to maintain that fire and fuel it accordingly. So be careful with the fires that you accept and embrace and the avenues that you explore around the time of the Cazimi, because they will be lit, but then you'll have to figure out how to keep them lit on your own at some point. The other major event we have this week is a full moon in Aquarius. A full moon happens when the sun and moon oppose each other. Simple enough. The interesting thing is that the sun and moon will be opposing each other on the same day the sun is conjunct Jupiter, which we know is a Jupiter Cazimi. Let me say it plainly. The Jupiter Cazimi is on the same day as the full moon, and it will be directly opposing the full moon. And for those who care about the generational planets, the full moon will be conjunct Pluto and talking with Neptune and Uranus as well. I was just talking the Cazimi up, and what I said still stands, but there's another layer that we have to consider. Leo and Aquarius are very different energies. They're both fixed signs, so they can agree on modality, and they do have complementary elements, so they know how to take action together because they're both fixed, but that's really about it. Leo is concerned with progression of self, and Aquarius is concerned with progression of society. If I'm really just watering them down, if I'm really watering it down, that's what those two are. Both the Cazimi and the full moon are highlighter events. They're illuminating something within their respective realms. The opposition between the two illuminating events means that we can't indulge in either of them how we normally would. It's not about picking one over the other. It's about meeting in the middle and finding a way to blend the agendas. The push and pull that we feel between these two realms will be very real and might cause us to feel some type of way about what's been going on in these areas of life, about what's being illuminated, about the avenues of expansion that are being brought to us. Leo has been more active and lively because it's had Jupiter there, and Aquarius has been more subtle. So what comes up within Aquarius might be the more jarring piece or the harder to reconcile piece. The full moon and the Cazimi are two separate events that are kind of hijacking each other's moment. You can't focus on one without taking the other into consideration. The full moon is happening at 6 degrees of Aquarius and the Cazimi is at 6 degrees of Leo. The numbers don't lie. These two are connected and need to come to an understanding, which means we need to consider what both of them highlight and how to best work with the information that each of them is giving us. The full moon might show us something that we need to release or back off of in order to further Jupiter's Cazimi energy. Jupiter's Cazimi energy might show us how we need to better embody self in order to be of service to others in a more broad context. This can manifest in a myriad of ways, so I really recommend looking at the Leo-Aquarius axis in your chart and taking some time to reflect on what needs addressed and how you can personally best work with what each astrological event highlights. You might see a lot of talk about this opposition embodying self versus society, like I initially said, but it's also passion versus logic, and it doesn't have to be versus in the sense that they're enemies. Air and fire get along. They're complementary. But the Leo-Aquarius axis itself and the houses it embodies in your chart have this innate duality. The Cazimi and the full moon will bring awareness to that duality, and it's up to us to decide on how we manage that energy and engage with it. Like I said at the start of the episode, there's not a ton of things going on this week, but what we do have is more than enough. Go read my Saturn retrograde article on Substack to get the gist of how to kick off Saturn's retrograde, and then put the majority of your focus this week on understanding what needs to be done within the Leo-Aquarius axis. Be open to both logic and passion, heart and mind, self and society, ego and superego. We need both to create the middle ground for the opposition to thrive, and for the Cazimi to come to life, and for the full moon to come to life. Thank you for tuning into this week's forecast. If you want more astrological content, including horoscopes, retrograde guides, and occult ramblings, subscribe to my Substack at Delana. It's the best way to keep up to date with my work and to never miss a post. To book a reading with me, sign up for my mailing list on my website, moonmattersastrology.com. I'll meet you back here next week, but until next time, later days.